All right, we're recording. So, I actually was going to talk about how we've met, but actually we haven't met yet. So, I'm claiming that we're going to meet at the Diamond Retreat here in September. But I want you to tell everybody your story, and then I know some people on here don't know my story, so I'll go ahead and share mine after. But you go ahead and go first. Just kind of how you found it works, how long you've been in, all the things.
Yeah, of course. Okay, first I just want to say that I feel like I always end like prayers really awkwardly too. I'm just like, okay, amen. Next thing, you know. So it's not just you. I've always felt that way. Okay, so my story. So I actually found it, or I think It Works found me actually about a year ago. It was April 30th, and I had saw Morgan on TikTok posting, so I messaged her right away. And she was like, okay, it's 50% off. You know, we went through all the messages, and she was like, it's 50% off, but the deadline ends at midnight, and it was 10. So I had 2 hours, and I didn't have any money. Like I had like probably like $5 or $6 in my bank account. We just lived off of my husband's one income. So I messaged my mom and I was like, hey, there's this really awesome opportunity. I'll explain later, but can I borrow $50? She sent it to me. I joined, and of course I had fears, but they didn't really hit me until after, because I just thought, oh my gosh, this is a way for me to make an income, because I had a hold on. I had a 5-month-old, and it had started to hit me that we were like barely getting by. So I started thinking of going to work. And before I had Hudson, well, I was actually pregnant with him. I was working at a dentist office as a dental assistant. And guys, I barely had like any money at all. And I still lived at home. My parents paid for everything. And I always never, at the end of the month, I never seemed to have enough money. And so my husband, he had a good job, so I quit my dental job, and I started living with him. He worked in Lubbock. So I moved 8 hours away from home, because I was so sick I couldn't work. Anyways, back to the good stuff. So I messaged Morgan. I got started right away, and guys, I seriously had no stinking clue what I was doing. Morgan just told me, we got through my training in like a week, I would say. She told me to do host to post, so that's what I did. And I kid you not, I was signing 4 to 7 customers every single day just because of host to post. I didn't know what the heck I was doing, but I just sent messages to Morgan, screenshots, and she told me what to say back. And then I picked that up along the way. And guys, I just flew running, and I had a goal, which I didn't tell anybody this because I was afraid to shout my goals out. But I was like, I'm going to be Ruby within my first month, because on the income disclosure statement, it says the average is like for something. And I was like, $500, that's awesome. I was thinking of groceries. I was thinking of a few bills, and I got to stay home with Hudson, which was the reason I joined. I did not want to leave him. It literally broke my heart thinking about someone else raising my baby. And that gives me chills to talk about. So he's literally the reason why I'm still pushing for more. So that's pretty much my story. And oh no, this is actually a big part. So I went Ruby within my first month, right? Well, I started shooting for the next thing, right? But what I didn't realize is um sorry, I get so distracted. But what I didn't realize is that I hit my goal, and without realizing it, I didn't have what was next. So I sat at Ruby for a year. Exactly a year later is when I promoted to Diamond. And I actually just recently had a coaching call with Morgan. No, it was in June. And I told her, I said, the same thing's happening at Diamond that was happening at Ruby. And she was like, well, because you didn't think of what was next. So that's something that I'm still working on. And I didn't realize it was happening. it just hit me out of nowhere. That was my goal. I hit it. I wasn't thinking what was next. So I'm going to challenge y'all. Think of what's next. Like Morgan always says, you never want to hit your goal. If you hit your goal, you're going to fall shorter than that. And you don't want that to happen. So why not shoot for more? So that's pretty much my story. I could literally talk about that forever. But that's my short version of my story.
No, I love it. And some of the girls on here are new, and maybe some of the people listening are new. So I'm going to give Morgan's swimming analogy of why she always says you never want to hit your goal. You want to go past it. So, and it's really funny because, I mean, I haven't done that fully with Granger yet because we're just experimenting with the water. But she talks about when a kid jumps into the water and then they're saying, okay, swim to me. Okay, swim to me. I'm right here. Well, they keep backing up and they never actually like catch them until they're like, probably hitting the wall sort of thing. They just let them keep going because they want them to push themselves. They want them to push themselves past the goal of just getting there. And so that's what she's talking about. And that's a really, really good point. And I just want to like highlight that because that's just I just love it. And I just love your story. So for those of you who don't know me, hi, I'm Brooke. I joined 3 years ago, watched Morgan for an entire year, and things just got bad enough for us financially where I was like, all right, am I crazy? Am I crazy for doing this? I don't know, but I'm going to do it anyways because she can get grocery money, then I can get $100 for gas. And so I joined, and then I was kind of really unsure, similar. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was like, all right, I'm just going to do the things. And so it took me 3 months to go Ruby, but I doubled my paycheck each month. And so income disclosure statement here till I went Ruby, and then I tripled it because there was $1,000 bonus on the line at the time. And I got that, which was obviously incredibly awesome. 4 months in, I got $1,000 bonus. And I was like, what the heck is this company? Like, this is insane. And so did that. Actually sat at Ruby for about a year. I just don't think I was ready for the leadership of Emerald. I don't think I knew what I wanted to be in a lead or as a leader, you know what I mean? And that's actually obviously what we're going to talk about tonight. And then so it was like January or February of 19 that I promoted to Emerald, and then obviously I'm working on Diamond now, and that's what I'm claiming right now. But it really takes a lot of leadership, and you don't think about that when you join because you join for yourself. And so anyways, when I joined and all the ranks along the way, the biggest thing I want to highlight is like, I was just consistent. I was just straight up consistent. And even when I didn't see the fruit of what was happening, I stayed consistent the entire time. And so what I want to like highlight from that is the times that it's paid for. So I went to Florida, obviously, that was completely paid for. I went to Florida one more time, that was paid for. Michigan was paid for. These were all at work trips. I didn't have gas to get home one time from Northern State University, which was our college that we were doing grad school on for a week. Literally, as I was getting ready to call my husband, because I knew he didn't have the money either, a fast start bonus got deposited in my account. That's a God thing. My husband lost his job, and then we had to pay for gear because he was going to be working outside in construction. It was like $800 of gear, guys. It was intense because he needed stuff for every single day. And this was like, we live in South Dakota, so it's like the polar winter, and it was like negative 30 some days that he was going to be working outside. And so I literally just was like, all right, I got it. And he was like, huh? I was like, yeah, I got it. And it was 800 and some dollars. And he was like, oh, like, okay. And so then I paid off my car 2 years early, and literally so many other incredible things. And then obviously 8 months in, God was like, psych, didn't bring this to you. You can pay off these things. Brought this to you so you can be a stay-at-home mom. And so never wanted to be a stay-at-home mom, but now I can never imagine anything different. And he literally is my why. It's why I do everything every single day. And that's a really short, fast version of my story. So because I know I don't want to run out of time because we've got so many incredible things to talk about regarding leadership, I want to get straight into the questions because they are really good. And we've got some quote normal questions that we ask on Zoom a lot. But I do want to get into the leader ones. But would you still say that your best tip for LCs is host to post, or are you getting them any other way? Or what's just in general your best tip for host, or best tip for host to post, best tip for LCs?
Yes, so host to post is the number one thing. I've realized when my enrollments aren't where I want them to be, it's because I'm not getting up as many host to posts. And also I will say, this is also for customers and distributors, but I feel like a really good way is like attraction marketing. So I like to show people who I am on my story. I'm trying to get more, this is something that I'm working on. I'm trying to get more vulnerable and real with people because I know social media can seem like it's just like a highlight reel. And I want you to know that when you're more vulnerable with people, it's going to build relationships and it's going to feel like they can trust you. So that's how it falls into when they say people buy you before they buy the products or whatever. when people feel like they can trust you, they're going to feel more comfortable talking to you about weight loss goals that they have or skincare goals, or trusting you with helping them start this business when they have fears and doubts themselves. So just being real honest with people and showing them like, hey, you're not perfect all the time, and you're still human, and then this is a huge, huge, huge thing, and I cannot stress this enough: following up. I would say probably 85% of customers will come from following up, because you're not going to find many people that will sign right on the spot, which it does happen. But a lot of people are going to come from following up. So they say that it's like what, 7 to 14 times before of following up before someone agrees to join the business or become a customer. So definitely host a post, being yourself, talking on your stories, sharing your story too. Posting every day, when that's letting people know you're open for business. And I will tell you this, there's probably at least one more other person on their feed that's doing it works too. And if you quit being consistent with following up, they're going to get all your hard work. They're going to join someone else because you quit following up with them. Think about this. What if you follow up with them 13 times, and that 14th time you're second guessing whether to follow up with them? This actually happened to someone, and I cannot remember where I heard this from. But the 14th time, they followed up with them and they said something about, I'm sorry, I was ignoring you. I've been talking to someone else and they just kind of ghosted me or whatever. So I decided to join with you because you kept following up with me so much. So yeah, those are my tips for customers.
No, I love it. And I think I really want to highlight the attraction marketing part of like, because they join and they're like, okay, how do I get people to buy these? How do I sell to people? Who am I going to sell to? And I always tell people, I don't consider myself like selling something. I really don't. I don't feel like a salesperson. That's not what I do. I literally share my life and I just intertwine the products in there. But I use the products every day and they're a part of my life. They're a part of something that truly has changed my life. And so I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to do that. But the reason people feel so comfortable about like me getting their information is, one, I always send them the deleted information like after, like I let them know this is a daily thing. I do this all day for my customers, but I will delete the information, and send it back to you, sort of thing. Two, if they're like, wow, how do I know you're a real person? I'm not kidding. I literally take a picture and I'm like, this is what I'm doing now. And I send it to them. And if they're still not sure, I send them a video of me and I'm like, okay, here's me at Walmart. And I literally have done that before. And my hair looks like this. Like, it's nothing pretty, but I'm just like, hey, I'm a real person. Like, I don't know how you don't know that from my stories yet, but I'm a real person, because I am really consistent on my stories besides my Sabbath. So I wanted to make sure I said that. I feel like I was gonna say something else with it, but I don't remember. So let's just move on here. Would you say, or like, where do you get your distributors from? Like, are you doing distributor host posts? Or you think it's from sharing your story? Where are you getting most of those from, do you feel like?
So a lot of the time, I feel like it is from sharing my stories, but it's also because I intentionally interact with people that I think would be good at this business or that they benefit from it. And so after I've interacted with them a lot, after I've built a relationship with them, then I send them a message, and I'll send it to you so that way you can send it to your team, because I don't have it on the computer. I have like 3 messages that work really good for me. But it just says something along the lines. Well, actually, hold on. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing, so let me pull it up real quick. It'll bother me if I don't do that. Oops. It just says, oh, hold on, just kidding. It says, hey, girlfriend, you probably get asked this a lot, but I feel like I'd be doing us both the disservice to not reach out. I think you would be so good at what I do, and I would love to talk to you about if you would be interested in hearing how to make some extra money. You already post like we do, and I think you would totally kill this. Have you ever thought about doing what I do? So that literally just throws it out there. And it lets them know, hey, I think you'd be awesome at this. Would you like some more information? They say yes, they say no. Sometimes they'll say not right now. Well, guess what? I put them on my follow-up list and I check in with them in 2 months, because they say every 6 months, something like a big event happens in someone's life. So maybe they say no right now, but in 6 months they find out they're pregnant and they want to stay home with their baby. or someone lost their husband lost their job, or they lost their job, and then you have been following up with them consistently, and they see your name pop up and they're like, oh yeah, she's been messaging me and she makes an extra income, and you've been posting every day, you've been talking about it, you're consistent, so they can trust you. Also, oh no, just kidding, that was it. Emily asked how I stay organized for doing my follow-ups. Okay, I'll be honest, I am still trying to work on this because this is something that I'm not the best at. And this is where my enrollments are not where I want them to be. So I'm still working on this. But what I do is Hannah Reeves did a Zoom where she follows up every Friday and she keeps it in her Apple calendar. And so that's actually what I've been doing. I have tried to do it on paper. It just doesn't work out for me. I'm one of those people where I like to make lists, but I always lose them. I just write it down and the Lord knows where they end up. But so I follow up so say that I talk to someone on a Thursday, I follow up with them that Friday. Say I talk to them on a Monday, I follow up with them on a Wednesday. So it's 2 days, 2 weeks, and 2 months. And then it's also every Friday. Now, I will say in the beginning when I heard this, I was like, that sounds like a little too much. I don't want to bug them. But think about this. How many times do you get an email from Target or Best Buy or whatever else is out there? Sometimes I get 3 emails a day from them, and it can be the same email right in a row, but they're constantly on your notifications. So when you think, hey, I need a new swimsuit, I don't know, whatever, you're going to think of Target because they may have sent you an email about a 20% off coupon or whatever. So, and guys, don't overcomplicate it. When you're following up with them, just talk to them like they're a friend. I mean, they're human too. Sometimes there's like, I'll send the same 2 messages in a row and they don't really notice. If they say something, who cares? I mean, they'll get over it. So, and I keep it in my calendar on my phone, and I literally have an alarm set at 1:00 that says check calendar for follow-ups. And I just write in my phone, I don't know, I'll put Brianna McCreight, second message, or oh, that's for customers. Sorry. I do that for customers too. For retention, I'll put like second message or package message or third message, whatever. But I just put so-and-so's name, follow up, and I go to their name and I put PLC or I put PDT just because it helps me. Like if we have the 50% off codes or whatever, I can literally just go through and see all my potential distributors. And I also do have it on paper sometimes where I go back and look at like I find a random paper that has potentials on it, and I'll go through that, and it's really easy to see all the potential distributors, customers. So I just put that in my calendar.
That's so good. And I really like the alarm because I feel like I'm like, okay, when do I want to do it amongst all my other stuff that I do? Like when's a good time? So that's a really good idea. I actually was doing the calendar method for a little bit and I switched back to the planner because I hate like having to keep stuff or like I don't know. I'm up and down about the phone. So I put it in my planner, but then I'm so OCD, like I'm very green and organized that I have an Excel document with everyone that I've ever talked to in the entire time I've been in the business. It's intense. And it's like my lifeline because then when we have a sale, I literally can go in and search HSN and every single person comes up. But the same thing would happen if I had them in my calendar. But the thing that I like about the calendar is that literally on like, let's say July 1st, I added in all my people from June that I talked to. So that took a good chunk of time out of my day to do. And so that's why I do like the calendar thing because I can't have 5 planners laying around and like go back and follow up with those people. Like I just can't do it. So that's really good. And I love that. So I want to go on to the next part here. They want to know, how do you do your self-development? Are you like an audiobooks kind of person? Do you sit down and read? Like, what do you feel like you get the most out of? And I guess why?
Okay, so I actually used to only do YouTube videos because I couldn't sit there and actually listen to it. I got so distracted. Like Hudson would need a snack or something, and then it's like I don't even know what they said for the last 10 minutes, and it wasn't benefiting me in any way. But I have recently been doing, I've been reading books and I've been doing podcasts. The reason why I like podcasts is because when I'm super, super busy or I have a lot of stuff to do around the house, I play that like while I'm doing the dishes or picking up toys or whatever, and I'm still able to listen. Um, so I like to do podcasts when I'm really busy or when I'm getting ready if I have to go somewhere. I like that. Or also when I'm driving, like if I'm going to be on the road all day, I like to listen to podcasts instead of music because I'm driving, so there's nothing else to do. But I have recently been loving books. Like I feel like a book nerd and I absolutely love it. I've ordered probably 10 books in the last 3 weeks. Um, but what I love about books is I love how it's something like physically in my hand. I don't know if it's like I feel in control or whatever. But I like how I can underline it and how I'm more likely to take notes if I have a book. And so I've actually been going back and reading books, and I feel like this is where a lot of leadership growth comes from is self-development. I feel like this is a huge, huge part. And I honestly didn't do self-development in the beginning. And I honestly feel like Brooke was saying earlier, there's a certain level of growth that has to happen in you before you promote, because like Brooke said, she didn't think that she was ready for it. I feel like that's another reason why it took me so long to promote, because there was a lot of internal growth that had to happen. um, so I started taking personal development seriously, and guys, now I love it. I literally look forward to reading, and I probably do self-development all day long. Macy gave us this tip one time, and she said when she does a task that's not like fulfilling to her, that she doesn't necessarily enjoy, like sometimes messaging's not fun for me. So what I do is I set a timer, 20 minutes, whatever it is, or I know Morgan does a playlist. I like to set a timer. I do that, and then I do self-development. So you're filling yourself back up so it's not draining you. And I've actually been doing that, and it has helped a ton. Um, and also, okay, wait, that was another question. Never mind.
Well, no, and what I was gonna say is two things. So one, I think the setting a timer is a really good thing because even like whether because a lot of my girls ask like, how do you work when you have a bad day? Well, when we moved into our apartment, I had a bad day for like 3 weeks. So I was like, well, I still worked. I was still consistent, and I genuinely had emotionally like draining bad days where I was like almost depressed. I've like never been there, and I'm not joking about it. Like I just genuinely did not want to go anywhere. I didn't want to do anything. Like it was bad, but I still worked and I was still like consistent. So we talk about that a lot. But whether you're having a bad day or not, I think a timer is a really good thing because then if you do feel like I wouldn't even say burnt out, but if you're like, okay, I'm getting kind of annoyed right now, or maybe you got off task, stop. If you got your task done, go reward yourself with something, So I'm not saying go watch an hour and a half, 2 hour movie, if you only did one thing. But if you did like, if that was like the fifth out of six tasks that you have to do, okay, yeah, go get an ice cream or go watch a movie or something that like really you enjoy. And I'm a very big reward oriented person. Like I don't do the fun things that I like to do. Like, okay, so The Bachelorette is on right now. And obviously I'm not on it, but that's because we don't have cable. So I always watch it on Tuesdays, but I do not watch it on Tuesdays until I get my task list done. Because otherwise I will not do it. I will not do it. And so when I get up in the morning, I'm like, yo, you better bet I'm gonna have my stuff done by the time that the prayer Zoom is over so I can tune into the Bachelorette as soon as possible because obviously I'm doing all my stuff on social media. I don't want to see the spoilers, all that stuff. And that's just something that's fun to me because I don't like watching it and then feeling like, oh crap, I gotta answer my team, or oh crap, I gotta go do my follow-ups. I don't like having to do that. And I'm someone that works in the morning. Now, if you're someone that works at night, you might have to kind of change this up a little bit because obviously everyone's different. I personally, Andrea, yeah, I do my what I don't. Oh, hold on. That's what. Okay, so Andrea asked, so are you doing what you don't like first and then doing self-development? I always start my day with I say I start my day with devotionals and then I pray and then I journal. That's how I start my day, or at least minimal my devotional if Granger wakes up, because I really do like to do my journaling and stuff like that in peace. But I don't check my phone. So, like in the morning, my team knows they probably will not get a text. Well, it seems early, but they won't get a text until like probably about 6 o'clock, which is late for me because I'm up at 4. And so I'm doing my self development, I'm doing my own tasks. So that way throughout the day, I can help them and do their thing. But if I was doing something throughout the day, if I felt like I was kind of like, let's say my team like honestly coming off my Sabbath yesterday, I had so many messages from my team, which is so good. It's a good problem to have. But I was like, oh my gosh, like this is kind of a lot. And so I literally told Dan, I was like, I just need to go read for a little bit. Like I need some me time. And so I literally answered their messages and then I went out and read. So even if they responded to me, I didn't respond back because I just needed to fill my cup back up. So that's what I do. And I don't know if you want to like touch on that or if that pretty much touches what you would say or how you want to do that.
Yeah, I would say probably 2 months ago, I started where I don't check my phone in the morning because sometimes I would there would be a rude comment or someone was negative and that affected my whole day. It affected my team. I was griping at Aaron and Hudson was just getting on my nerves. So it is very, very important to take care of yourself first because your team is still going to be there. You need to take care of yourself first because how can you be the best leader for your team? How can you serve your customers the best? Um, so I do self-development, I pray, I read my Bible, I do all that stuff first. Then I message because that's my least favorite thing to do. Because for me, I like to knock it out because I know that's out of the way. Then it feels like the rest of the day is super easy for me because I have what I dread out of the way. Now I've actually come to like messaging a little more, but yes, I personally like to do the task that I don't like to do first. It gets it out of the way because then the rest of the day you're like, okay, I only have to do this and it's not a big deal. And plus, it makes time go by faster when you're like, I'm going to get this out of the way. And like Brooke said, reward yourself. Like if that's what you hate and you've just spent 30 minutes messaging, go take a walk outside or read parts of your book or whatever. Do whatever you like, whatever fills your cup up, and then get the rest of the stuff done.
Yeah, and I feel like also like so many people are like, "Oh, well, if I don't answer my team like right now, like they might quit or they might leave you." Well, sorry, bye. Like I honestly don't care. And like I am not red. I'm wearing red right now, which is funny. But I'm not a red personality. I'm not very blunt. But if you think that you're gonna come before my son, it's not happening, and that's what that's what your team has to understand. Whether you're a mom, whether you have someone coming to the door, whether you've got family over, you and them come first. And that's what they really need to understand. And that's what I think that people forget sometimes. They're like, oh my gosh, I gotta respond right now, right now, right now. No, you don't actually. Because if you've got something going on and your kid sees you on your phone all the time or your husband sees you on your phone, like when I promoted to Ruby, I was pumped. I was so pumped I got the bonus. I was so excited. And then literally the next day, my husband was like, I'm so proud of you. Can I have my wife back now? And I was like, ooh. And it was kind of a gut punch for me. I was like, "Oh, like, okay, I've been on my phone too much." And then I got a schedule and then obviously I prioritize stuff and everything like that. But I think it's good to remember when you're thinking about your team and your leadership and everything like that. So I feel like I could talk forever on that, but I know we got to get to the next question here. So I thought this was an incredible, incredible question that my team wanted to know. So I'm going to look at it so I don't forget it. But what specifically do you do every day to grow yourself as a leader for your team? So is it like self-development? Is it things outside? Do you look up leadership podcasts? Like what type of things do you do?
One thing I want to say back to what we were just talking about is this is the reason that you join this business is either freedom of time to have more money or whatever it may be. So don't think, oh, Kelsey Thornton said there's no such thing as an it works emergency. This business should not come before your family. You shouldn't feel like you have to be on your phone 24/7. And I felt like that. And then I started to not enjoy this anymore. And I just put this before everything else. And that's not good, guys. Do not do that. This business can wait. It is still going to be there. You're still going to have customers. You're still going to have distributors. Your team will still message you. If you don't get back to them for 6 or 8 hours because you were spending the day with your kids at the park, that is okay. It also shows them that, hey, you can have a successful business and have time with your family. That's what this is all about. So don't feel like this has to come before your children or freedom of time or whatever.
Well, and
If
I
you
feel like along with that, like I would say, and I don't mean like good on myself, but like I would say I'm pretty dang good about letting my team I know I have something going on. So like today we had friends come over and I wasn't sure how long they were going to be here. And I was like, hey, I got friends come over in about a half hour. I'm going to be really slow at responding back and I'm not sure when I'm going to get back to you. Well, guess what? After they left, I did work for a little bit, but then Granger fell asleep, and Daniel and I spent hours together just uninterrupted because we just have not had that time together. And I didn't let them know about Daniel and I spending time together, but I did let them know about the friends, so it kind of worked out. But my point is, I let them know what's going on. If I have an emergency, even on those days when, like, it's a really long story, but something happened with one of our neighbors, and it was just not a good situation. I literally texted my team. I was like, not in a good mindset, not really doing okay. Could use some prayers. That's all I'm gonna say. Gonna be really slow at getting back to you today. Done. That's all I said. And they were super understanding. They were like, "I'm praying for you. Like, I hope you're okay." All those things. They were not mad that I didn't get back to them because I let them know. And I think that's something that you can do too. Like, hey, they know Tuesdays is my Granger day. Tuesdays is the day I take Granger to the park or whatever it is. They know because I let them know. So that's something too.
Yeah, I love that. I actually need to do that more because like I said earlier, I'm trying to get more vulnerable, not only with my team, but like with my followers too. And I like that how you said you let them know. I don't always think to do that because I think it also falls back on I'm a very like personal person and I don't like to share a lot of my business. But I do think that is important to let your team know what's going on. And I feel like that also like that builds trust with them and lets them know that it's okay that you're not perfect. You do have stuff that happens. What was
Well, and
your
I think well, yeah, I'll get to the question, but I think with that, like I think people feel like you have to be like, okay, so Bree, this is what happened. So this lady came over and she did this and this and this, and I can't talk about it because I will get actually frustrated. But I don't need to share like every single detail with you guys or with my team to show you that something bad happened. I could really just be like, hey, having a rough day, not going to be available for a while, send some prayers. I could literally say that. And I could even do that like on the days where I have a bad day. I'm going to do this really short before I get to the question. But on the days where I have a bad day, till I'm ready to talk, even saying I've had a bad day, I just don't show my face on my story. And I don't encourage that. I'm not saying if you have a bad day every day for 3 weeks, don't show your face on your story. Don't not think I'm saying that because that's not right. But what I am saying is that, well, okay, this tonight's a bad thing because if you go on my story right now, there's gonna be a crap ton of storm stuff because that's all it is right now. But on a normal bad day, you're gonna see my coffee probably on a boomerang without my face or something like that. You're gonna see my backyard. You're gonna see Granger. You're gonna see my cats. You're probably gonna see like if I'm watching a show, you're gonna see me folding laundry. You're gonna see me doing all these things, but you're not gonna see my face. But I'm still on my story, and they're still seeing what I'm doing with my life. And I think that's something too. And then when I'm ready to talk about it, I'm like, oh my gosh, today's just kind of been a day and I'm not ready fully to talk about it. But if you're the praying kind, I would love some prayers because that's really all that's all I need right now, type of thing. And sometimes it doesn't happen that day because maybe it was really bad. Maybe you got news that a family member is going to die. Like, I know that's really harsh, but like, I'm just saying, like, that happens to people and life happens. And maybe you got that news and you are just not emotionally okay to be on your story. That's okay. That's why we have over stories that we can be like, hey, I'm broke and I did this and I did that and I did this. Kind of want to record a Zoom right now. Do you need something? He's just looking at me, guys. Okay, look.
I get so nervous when Aaron looks at me when I'm talking on my story.
Okay, Bree, touch on what I touched on real quick.
Oh my gosh. I can't even remember what she was saying. I do remember. Okay, so I found out that I was pregnant in May. So I had terrible, terrible morning sickness. And guys, I could not even literally hold my head up. I threw up all day long and it was just terrible. And I was like that for 3 weeks. And so what I did is I went to my archive in my stories and I literally saved and posted the same thing and nobody knew any different. But I did it to show people, or show now, like, hey, even though I was sick and I was throwing up all the time, I was still showing up for my business because I knew there were people watching. And also, because I knew that after I got over that, got medicine, whatever, that I was going to pick back up where I started. And that's also something that I'm still overcoming. I wasn't able to really work for 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, I can't remember, because I couldn't even go to the doctor yet, so she couldn't prescribe me medicine. I couldn't even take care of Hudson. That was just a bad time. So my enrollments dropped, all that stuff, and I felt like, what the heck is wrong with me? But I talked to someone else and they were like, okay, you're being way too hard on yourself. You have to give yourself grace. You literally just said you were throwing up all day long. That's okay. guys, my enrollments dropped, and guess what? I didn't quit the business. I'm still going to be working for it. I'm still going to be posting about the coffee or whatever. And that shows your potentials. Hey, she went through this, but she picked back up and she's still going. And guess what? My enrollments are increasing again. And that is something that I was afraid, like, what if I go diamond and I lose it all? And Morgan was like, okay, well, what if you lose it all? And I was like, well, I'm just gonna keep working at it. And she said, okay, that's the worst thing that happens. And then I was like, it was just like a light bulb went off in my head. And I was like, dang, she's right. And guys, that happened to me. I'll be honest with you. I went diamond 2 months later. I didn't maintain. Well, guess what? This month I'm going to re-maintain because guess what? I'm still building my business. So, guys, the worst thing you could think of if you have fears or whatever, it's okay. It's not really that bad as you think it is. I feel like we always exaggerate things in our head because we're women and that's what women do. But it's okay, guys. I mean, you're going to keep building your business. You're in this for the long run, right? We would all love to be an ambassador. So you're going to keep building your business.
Okay, so I have to explain what happened with my husband first because he like hardly ever interrupts me on Zooms, especially my Zooms that I'm like talking on. So literally comes in holding our chicken Alfredo that we had for supper, but it's like a full bowl, and he's like, "Did you even eat supper?" And I was like, "Yeah, I did. I scooped my own bowl and ate it." And he's like, "But this is the bowl I had for you. You didn't eat." And I was like, "I didn't even see that bowl." And he's like, "Oh." Literally, that's all that happened, guys. So, anyways, I'm sorry about that. I forgot even what I was going to say in response to you because I just was trying not to laugh during while you were talking because that's all I could think about because he just was like, it's like, what? So I'm so sorry. But no, so the question that we had regarding the leadership was what specifically do you do every day to grow yourself as a leader for your team? So not even just like to grow your, like, well, I guess growing yourself is growing yourself as a leader, but like more specifically as a leader, what do you do every day to grow yourself?
Honestly, no, I don't mean to get like all like religious on y'all, but um I really pray about it because honestly, there's some days where I'm like, I don't even know what the heck I need. I don't even know what to ask for. Some days I feel like I'm failing my team and I think, well, am I giving them what they need or am I being too hard on them or am I not pushing them enough? And how do I cast the vision? And um I literally just pray about it and I really dig deep in my devotionals and I will 100% say it's books. Craig Rochelle is awesome, awesome, awesome on leadership. I used to think that I wasn't a leader because I didn't have a team underneath me. I actually didn't have anybody working underneath me until February. So I went almost a whole year of it just being me. Like I would sign distributors, but they wouldn't stay for very long. Um, but I didn't really have a team until February. But Craig Rochelle says, if you don't think you're a leader, you're wrong because you are. A leader is anyone that has influence. If you have anybody that's your friend or that's following you on social media, you have influence. Um, and so I would say that reading books, that's going to grow your mind. And that's what Morgan told me. She was like, that's where I get a lot of tips and information that I tell y'all is from books that I'm reading. And another thing is I read any kind of book because I may not need it, but what if my team comes to me and they have a question about that? I can refer back to that and I know how to help them. That's something that I didn't really understand until recently because if I didn't need it, I didn't think that somebody else might need it. So books are really good. I really like Craig Rochelle. He has podcasts that I like to listen to. And then John C. Maxwell. He is just like the number one on leadership. I just feel like he's so awesome with leadership. Um, Ashley Mayfield, she did a podcast. I listened to it today and she said that John C. Maxwell, he had a book or something and it talked about like the 7 types of leadership. And I'm sorry, I'm terrible with remembering like books and stuff like that, but it's on one of Ashley Mayfield's recent podcasts. So if you're interested in that, go check it out. Or you might even be able to look John Maxwell up and type in like his 7 types of leadership, or maybe that's Craig Rochelle. I don't remember. Anyways, if you're interested, just go go try to find it. Be resourceful. Um, I don't know what else to say. Sorry, guys.
No, I love it. I love it. And I think the thing along with that is like if you're on Zooms and you hear the same name over and over and over and over again, and it's by people who are successful, it's probably a hint that you should get that book or listen to their podcast or do whatever they're saying with that person and look something up, because obviously something that they're saying is like hitting you or hitting that person, and they're sharing it with that person and they're sharing it with this person, and then it just gets multiplied and you're like, what am I missing? And I didn't understand that until I got this book. I can't do it here. Winning the War in Your Mind. I just started reading this. I'm on chapter 3, but I'm going to finish chapter 5 here soon. But literally, guys, this is incredible. This is by Craig Groeschel. It's one of the guys that I put in there. And this is called Winning the War in Your Mind. And even chapter 1, I was like, dang. I was like, okay, like talking straight to me. So I'm going to put the title here in the chat. I know Winning the War.
Yeah, I'm on chapter 2 right now. I talked in my stories the other day because Aaron had messaged me one day on his way to work and he was like, hey, did you leave a book outside? And I was like, no, what are you talking about? All my books are right here. And he said, well, it looks like one of the dogs ate it. My freaking Amazon package, they tore up that book. None of the other 3, that was the one I was most excited about. So now, thankfully, I can show you, it's right here. Thankfully, I can still read the words, but they got a hold of it. I was ticked. I said, I'm about to kill those dogs. Not really, but I was so mad. I couldn't even talk about it.
Hear that thunder? Can you hear that?
I can't hear it, but I also have a fan going.
Sorry,
but
that was like
kind of
my apartment thunder. I was like, holy cow. So I guess along with that though, what I was going to talk about was like you mentioned authors. So like, do you have specific books that have really hit for you? Because like for me, Winning the Warrior in Your Mind has already been intense, and obviously I'm only 3 chapters in. And then Forgiving What You Can't Forget by Lisa Turker, so I'll also put that in there. Was really, really good. Especially if you deal with like obviously struggling with forgiveness. I'm gonna type that in here quick. Oh, I'm always really bad at spelling her last name, but I know the first name is spelled like this. That's really good. And then she also has a book called Uninvited, is also really good. And then You Are a Bad Word That I Don't Say, because I don't do that. Is also a really, really good book by Jen Sincero. I think I'm spelling that right. Sorry if I'm not. I was gonna say those are probably the books that have really meant the most to me, that have really hit me a lot. Also Rachel Hollis, that's what I was gonna say. Girl Wash Your Face and Girl Stop Apologizing are just absolutely incredible books too. But it really, I feel like, does determine or does like it depends on what you're going through at the time of what book is going to hit you. You know what I mean? So like if I'm going through something different than Bry right now, maybe Bry's struggling with her leadership and I'm struggling with my mindset. Well, I'm going to go to Winning the War in Your Mind, and maybe she needs to look up John C. Maxwell. I don't know the book title right off the top of my head, but she needs to go to leadership and I need to go to mindset. And so I want you to think about that as we're mentioning these books. They are really good, but you have to remember, what are you going through and what do you need? Because you might read a book and then you'd be like, oh, like, yeah, that was okay. And then everyone else is like, it's really good. And I don't remember what it was called. It was something about, I think it's The Last Arrow is what it was called. Morgan is obsessed with that book. Like she loved it so much. She thought it was so, so good. And maybe it's because I didn't read the actual book, but I just listened to the audiobook. It was okay, but I didn't get that much out of it like everyone else seemed to, because I don't think it was what I needed at the time. You know what I mean? So you just gotta like remember that as we're going. I know we're getting towards the end there. So did I miss any books that you really like or that have really impacted you in the business, like specifically, or not?
One thing I do want to kind of just touch on is I'm reading like 5 to 7 different books at one time, because some days I may feel like I'm not worthy of building success or whatever. So then that determines what book I read, like Brooke was saying. But also, okay, those books, yes.
Well,
Oh,
and
I started listening
along with that is like, you can do that, and if people can do that and that's what they need, go. But I can't do that because it bothers me to have 2 books reading at the same time. So I will read one book until I finish it, and then I will read the next book till I finish it. Like, so it really depends on yourself and like your personality too.
Yeah, just do what works for you. If you can read several books at one time, do it. If you can't, that's okay too. Oh, The Game of Life and How to Play It. I didn't actually order the book. It's free on Amazon, so I listened to that, and that has been an amazing book. Yes, it is so good. I'm serious, guys. I feel like you could read this at any point, any like season that you're going through. Also, the power of I am. I didn't realize it, but I tell myself a lot of things like, I can't do this, or I'm not successful. And then it talks about how literally what you say, it literally plans your life out. That's a really good book. Changing how like you think about yourself, and just speaking what you want to happen in your life. And then Cheyenne Knott, she recommended this book on a Zoom that I was on not too long ago. It's called Relentless by Tim S. Grover. And I actually just started reading it before this Zoom. And there's actually there's like 2 pages that I want to read to y'all, because I read this and I was like, dang, I've got to share this with them. So
Okay,
if you don't mind,
before you do that, yeah, I totally don't mind. I want to hear it. But I just want to mention one other one, especially if you struggle with thinking big or mindset. The Magic of Thinking Big, for the life of me, I can't remember who it's by. That was terrifying. It's also
I
really,
did
really
hear
good.
that.
You heard that one? Okay, good. But anyway, so that was one thing I wanted to go before you go into this, because I feel like it's going to be really good. And the last thing I was going to ask you was, what do you want to leave us with? So take us home.
Yeah, I'll read this real quick and then I'll do that part. Okay. So it says, to be the best, whether in sports or business or any other aspect of life, it's never enough to just get to the top. You have to stay there, and then you have to climb higher, because there's always someone right behind you trying to catch up. Most people are willing to settle for good enough, but if you want to be unstoppable, those words mean nothing to you. Being the best means engineering your life so you never stop until you get what you want, and then you keep going until you get what's next, and then you go for even more. Relentless. If that describes you, this book is your life story. You're what I call a cleaner, the most intense and driven competitor imaginable. You refuse limitations. You quietly and forcefully do whatever it takes to get what you want. You understand I don't know that word, addiction to success. It defines your entire life. If that doesn't describe you yet, congratulations. You're on a life-changing journey to discover the power you already possess. This isn't about motivation. If you're reading this book, you're already motivated. Now you have to turn that into action and results. You can read clever motivational slogans all day and still have no idea how to get where you want to be. Wanting something won't get you anywhere. Trying to be someone you're not won't get you anywhere. Waiting for someone or something to light your fire won't get you anywhere. So how are you going to get there? Believe this, everything you need to be great is already inside you. All your ambitions and secrets, your darkest dreams, they're waiting for you. They're waiting for you to just let go. What's stopping you? Most people give up because everyone has told them what they can't do, and it's easier to stay safe in the comfort zone. So they sit on that fence, unable to decide, unable to act. But if you don't make a choice, the choice will be made for you. It's time to stop listening to what everyone else says about you, telling you what to do, how to act, how you should feel. Let them judge you by your results and nothing else. It's none of their business how you get where you're going. If you're relentless, there is no halfway, no could or should or maybe. Don't tell me the glass is half full or half empty. You either have something in that glass or you don't. Decide, commit, act, succeed, repeat. Everything in this book is about raising your standard of excellence, going beyond what you already know and think, beyond what anyone has tried to teach you. Sorry about that. Where was I at? I'm almost done, guys.
Don't even worry. This is fire. The chat's literally blowing up. It's so good.
It's so dang good. Oh, Kobe says he wants six rings. I want him to have 7. A guy tells me he wants to come back from an injury in 10 weeks. I'll get him there in 8. You want to drop 30 pounds, you'll drop 34. That's how you become unstoppable, by placing no limits on yourself, not just in sports, but in everything you do. I want you to want more and get everything you crave. I don't care how good you think you are or how great others think you are. You can improve, and you will. Being relentless means demanding more of yourself than anyone else could ever demand of you. Knowing that every time you stop, you can still do more. You must do more. The minute your mind thinks done, your instincts say next. I could not stop reading this.
Fire.
like so dang good, guys. You have to get this. It is amazing.
Holy crap. I mean, not that you don't have anything to add on that, but I feel like that was like a really good way to end. I mean, do you want to live with this else with anything else? Because that was like, I was like, all right, end Zoom now. It's like that was so good.
Not really. I mean, the really the only thing I can tell you is I'm not going to say that you're not going to fail because you are. I'm not going to say you're not going to have doubts. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have people quit your team. You're going to have rude customers. But guys, it's all about what you want in the end. Don't you want more for yourself? Isn't that why you joined this business? Like the book said, you already have everything inside of you that you need to be successful. If you doubt yourself, it's just because you're not telling yourself enough that you are a bad A. Because you are. Guys, you were in this business for a reason. You wouldn't have these dreams and goals if they weren't meant for you to have. So, I mean, put in the work, be confident, grow in your leadership, fail forward. Every time you fail, that's an opportunity for you to grow and to say, okay, what can I learn from this? And then you may have a person on your team a year later that deals with that's going through that same thing. And guess what? You're able to help them. So do the work and enjoy the process.
That's so good. And the teacher in me has to say that failing is your first attempt in learning. So just remember that.
I
I
love
feel like
that.
there's something else I was going to say, but I can't remember it. So I'm just going to end it there and stop the recording because otherwise we'll talk forever.
This is so
So
good. Thank you
you're
for
so
having me.